Tonight on CTV News.
All those in favour say aye.
It's full steam ahead. The Christchurch Town Hall will be restored to its former glory. And the government's being asked to get a wriggle on when it comes to the former QE2 site.
Broadcasting across Canterbury. From the CTV studio, this is First at 5.
Good evening, this is CTV News, broadcasting and streaming live on ctv.co.nz. Well, the Christchurch Town Hall will be fully restored. Christchurch City Councillors have voted to save the heritage building after nearly 2 years of public wrangling. Jared McCulloch was at the council meeting this afternoon.
After being put on hold for a full reassessment of the earthquake-damaged Town Hall, the Christchurch City Council nearly unanimously voted yes to fully restoring the historic landmark.
I think that if we pass this today, councillors, this will be a major milestone towards us achieving our council's community outcomes. So I urge you all to strongly support the recommendation.
I think it's an absolutely wonderful time in history for us to be able to gift back an iconic building which we don't have many left.
This is the third debate I've had around this council table around the Town Hall. And it's probably, fingers crossed, going to come up with the same option that we had, same resolution we had nearly 3 years ago.
The cost-sharing agreement left it up to the local government to decide on the world-class facility. And now, with consent being approved on Tuesday, the work will begin. And Christchurch Mayor Leanne Dalzell is happy a part of the city's heritage can be saved, saying it's the right move from the council to get the facts right about the cost of the restoration.
I think that the cost-share agreement number was plucked out of the air, and I think that it is important that we have now in front of us the facts of the matter so that we can consider the decision that we need to make today.
Only one councillor, Jamie Goff, voted against the proposal, concerned about the cost escalating and other problems including asbestos and ground problems. But he says he will back the other councillors no matter what the decision.
So the worst possible thing that you could ever do in a decision-making role is to not make a decision. So in the event that the full restoration option is passed, then I back the collective decision. I'm part of a governance group, and when we make a decision, whatever the outcome of that is, I own. You know how I feel about it. I've been upfront and honest with you about my concerns with it, but I won't pick holes in it. And it's my job to ensure that we make the best go of it that we can.
There was also an applause from around 20 Town Hall supporters and architect Miles Warren, and it was given the go-ahead. So where has it come? Well, an accounting firm took on a report in August 2013, shortly after the council had already decided to go ahead with repairing the City Hall, despite public criticism from Earthquake Recovery Minister Jerry Brownlee. At the time when the project stalled, the council's financial position was still being reassessed, with the shortfall being close to $1.2 billion. But now, with the reassessment, the numbers work like this. Out of the 8 options presented, the council agreed on option 1 to fully repair and restore the site, including the removal of some trees and replacing them with others, coming in at a cost of $127.5 million. That will repair everything. So, green for go. A full restoration is due to be complete on the Armour Street site by June 2018. Jared McCulloch, CTV News.
And joining me now in the studio is Jared McCulloch, who was at that public meeting this afternoon. Jared, a pretty amazing turnout for a public council meeting.
Absolutely. Normally public council meetings don't really have much of a turnout at all. Usually it's media and not really anyone else. But today, just about a full crowd there actually today, and of course they are waiting to hear for the decision as well. Long process today as well, but when it got near to the end, there was definitely a cheer from the crowd. You had a chance to speak to the original architect of the Town Hall today, didn't you? What was his reaction? Well, he was very much surprised. He came in later on into the meeting, but he was obviously sitting there, waiting to hear what was going to go on as well, because obviously back in 1973 when it was first put together, he's the one that put it all together. Very excited, and everyone that was around him too was also excited. So, when it was announced that the ayes have it, so to speak, what was the reaction like from inside council? It was, as the first one happened, there was Vicky Buck that was the first person to say aye, and then from there I think the mood kind of changed. I felt like people felt after the report had gone through, it was feeling a bit more positive that it was going to go ahead to be restored, and then as more and more kept saying oh, yes and yes, the audience got louder and louder, I guess. Some of them, there was a bit of applause for some people, others just straight through, and then of course there was obviously one with Jamie Goff who was against the proposal. But interesting in that piece there, it shows that despite the fact that Jamie Goff has been upfront about this, saying he doesn't want
want it to happen, he did actually vote in the end for it. That's the impression I got from your story?
Absolutely. So there was a few bullet points they went through. There's 4 in total, and one of them he was just against as such. But I think the point there is that he was still going to back the council no matter what, with everyone else, to go ahead with it. If they made a decision to go ahead with it, which they have with the town hall, he's going to back it all the way through. So that's quite surprising.
So $128.5 million or something, it's that kind of sum. All right, so what happens now? My understanding is could get underway very soon.
Well, definitely. Well, the consent was given out on Tuesday to get it pretty much started, so it's all good to go, really. And from here on in, they can go in and start repairing pretty much all of it, and it should be ready by June 2018, as mentioned in the story. So, yeah, in 3 years' time.
Well, just get on with it. Reporter Jared McCulloch, thank you so much for coming into the studio.
No problems at all.
And as I say, we are broadcasting this bulletin tonight live at ctv.co.nz. To the day's other story now, and a lucky escape after a truck ploughed into a house in Christchurch this morning. The truck and trailer unit crashed into this home in the suburb of Craycroft shortly before 10 a.m. The passenger in the truck escaped injury, and the driver was taken to hospital with minor injuries but has since been discharged. A crane and tow truck were required to remove the truck, and Christchurch Police want to speak to any witnesses who saw the truck and trailer travelling along Worsley's Road or even saw the crash. And residents on the east are urging the government to get a move on when it comes to the former QE2 site. It was given the green light for 2 schools and an Eastern Recreation and Sports Centre, but as Chelsea Daniels reports, progress has been slow going.
Development of the former QE2 site was a hot topic of discussion in today's council meeting, with the community wanting the project to hurry up. It has been decided earlier this year by Christchurch City Council and the Ministry of Education to relocate Avonside Girls and Shirley's Boys schools along with the new Sports and Rec Centre. Residents are understandably eager to know where the schools and recreation centre will be co-located on the site and when they will expect the progress to continue. The absence of a recreation and sports centre in the east has placed strains on families with children active in sport.
Because our youth in the east and in nearby wards really need to be given the opportunity to get to their individual aspirations, and I know that's very much a theme from the high schools as well. They need the equal opportunity to achieve their competitive goals, and that is compromised by excessive travel that's needed to cross the CBD to get to appropriate facilities. In some circumstances, that could be 3 or 4 times a week, and it can make it prohibitive in terms of both cost and time for families to do that.
Robert spoke on behalf of the community, asking the council to make the right choice in a way of a brighter future. They want a space that can grow over time. However, they are well aware of the budget restraints that are facing the council at present.
As the community is clear that what we have is a choice of options within a limited budget. Nobody in the community believes that this is a Christmas wish list with an unlimited chequebook.
The mayor agrees that something has to be done. She also said that it's great news the schools are co-locating with the Eastern Sport and Rec Centre, and if anything was to be decided on, there would be a wide community debate first.
All of these options, but that's the conversation that we now want to kind of spark up and develop. But we have to engage the schools and the ministry in that debate as well. So it's a broader community debate.
Yes.
And Robert agrees.
Yeah, but what you have to do is take a look at the whole thing and say, here are all our needs. How do we accommodate them in the site we've got? What's the best way to start it? And perhaps, some sort of an arrangement where the schools are on one side, there's some shared facilities, there's the Eastern Recreation and Sports Centre, and then that flows into green space, sports fields, wetlands, the whole lot. It could turn into something spectacular for the East.
The QE2 park that was originally built to host the 1974 Commonwealth Games was damaged beyond repair by the Canterbury earthquakes in 2011. The revitalisation of the area has sparked widespread public interest in the eastern suburbs and is sure to be followed up with great passion.
So we need to see some positive stuff going through, and the community wants to be part of that, really involved in it. And I'm sorry, I'm getting slightly passionate about it because I think it's fantastic.
I want you to be passionate about it, Robert. That's the whole point.
I think it's a positive thing, but we need to be careful how it works. I couldn't have been more excited when I heard that the schools were going to locate at QE2.
Chelsea Daniels, CTV News.
A coroner's report has found a man who died in a rest home last year died from accidental strangulation. The report was due out today.
An elderly man accidentally killed himself after being entangled in electrical cords, a coroner says. 70-year-old Eric Patrick Hayden, who suffered from dementia, died on the morning of July 31, 2014 at his rest home in Waimari Beach. Today, coroner David Carrara said his death was a result of tragic coincidences, and how he became trapped is still unknown. Police had initially treated Hayden's death as suspicious, but an autopsy report said he had died from accidental strangulation. The coroner's court heard Hayden had gone to bed with a high temperature and a sore throat the night before he died. His carer thought Hayden was asleep when she checked on him at 3:30 a.m. At 6 a.m, she returned to his room to administer medication, finding Hayden missing. After searching the premises, she discovered Hayden lying face down beneath his hospital bed. When she pulled the bed away from the wall, she saw he had electrical cords wrapped tightly around his neck and waist. Paramedics could not resuscitate him. Carrara has recommended rest homes conduct safety reviews on its residents' beds.
And still to come here on CTV News, streaming live at ctv.co.nz, this week's Business Roundup. Hi, I'm Chris Lynch. Join me every Monday at 8:30 on CTV as we discuss the issues affecting you, your family and everything to do with Canterbury. That's CTV 8:30 right here.
Computer not working? Replace or repair? DIY or get a technician? Looking for parts? Thinking of upgrading? Need accessories? You've got questions, we've got answers. Global PC.
The preparation, the devotion, the fearlessness, the intensity. Runway model management. First impressions are everything.
Made to measure interiors, made with care, made for you.
Join Graham Sinclair and the team at Gone Fishing as they bring you great stories, fishing tips and beautiful scenery. Gone Fishing, Friday night at 8:30, right here on CTV.
And welcome back to CTV News. It comes with a price tag of $3 million, and believe it or not, it's an art piece you simply can't miss if you're heading to Christchurch from the north.
It's finally here, placed near the motorway north of Christchurch. Back in 2005, it was suppressed off the Sydney Harbour Bridge on one of the biggest nights for celebration, New Year's Eve, and was gifted to the city back in 2007. And finally, a decade on, it's made its way to our shores here in the Garden City. The structure known as Fanfare has been greeting commuters in and out of the city for only a few days, being officially opened last night. With 360 reflective pinwheels, it'll bring the sphere to life, being one of the country's largest public art pieces. CTV News has followed its journey here. Back in February, there was excitement from sculptor Neil Dawson, when preparation was going on at the site.
When you make these big public art works and there's a lot of energy and a lot of work goes into them and they're only up for 3 weeks, it's kind of sad. So the fact that it has an ongoing life is an absolute treat, and the fact that it's near my hometown is even better.
And back then he believed it would take time for commuters to understand its beauty.
And it may only happen in a flash of a second as you drive past, but if you're doing that every day, you accumulate a relationship with it, and that's why I love public art, because it's an ongoing relationship, and it's got as much to do with the observer as it has got to do with the artwork.
The sod turning marked the start of the installation of the structure, but it wasn't cheap to get it here, coming in with a price tag of $3.3 million. And in February, Space Public Arts still needed $47,000 to make it a reality.
For all of Canterbury, it's going to be a symbol of Christchurch rising from the ashes, if you like, and it's a real great statement. It'll be a really great gateway for Christchurch.
It really does signal that the city is going ahead with a rebuild and that arts are going to be an important part of the rebuild.
Shortly after the turning, the 20-metre high sphere arrived in the country in pieces, in a state of disarray.
Seeing that it's a couple of years old and it was sitting in a container for quite a long time.
Fanfare was never meant to be a permanent piece of art when it was designed. It was a trial and error process representing a large mirror ball for Sydney's New Year's Eve disco party.
I took that theme and just modified it a little bit, and I thought if things moved in the wind they wouldn't take so much, and then I came up with the idea of just using fans, the simple pinwheel fan that we all know that we had on a stick. So again, it's an accessible object that people know really easily.
It was only going to be shown for a fleeting moment, meaning it needed to go through some restructuring work to make it last for years to come.
Well, it goes from here to the sandblasters, and then from the sandblasters to the galvanizers, and from the galvanizers goes on site on the motorway, and the whole structure will be assembled and put up.
So 5 years worth of fundraising later and 4 months of installation, the structure now stands tall on the northern motorway, with its official blessing taking place yesterday, a welcoming sight for commuters for years to come. Jared McCulloch, CTV News.
And now Warren Head's here with this week's Business Roundup.
I'm Warren Head from headline.co.nz. Some good news. The day started with the Reserve Bank Governor coming out with a rate cut to the official cash rate. What this means, of course, is that then sets the tone for a lower interest rate environment right across the board, starting with bank mortgage rates as well. It was only a little cut, but it really signalled that they are recognising that things are tough out there in the complex world we live in. We have an export sector that needs a bit of help. At home, we're travelling at a growth rate of 3.5% and everything's hunky-dory there. But things are looming up out there, including increased oil prices. You're starting to see that come through at the petrol pump. And there's the Auckland housing problem. We won't talk about that again today. But all round, there's a little bit of a pronounced drop in export commodity prices. And the farmers, of course, have been hit rather hard in recent months by that. So the central bank cut the official cash rate by 0.25%, and before the hour we saw the ANZ Bank come out and knock the same amount off their floating and flexible home loans down to 6.49 for ANZ floating rate home loans and 6.6 for flexible home loans, and they indicated there too that this was signalling, in accordance with the Reserve Bank's move, this move to a lower interest rate environment. So it shouldn't stop there. If you've got a $250,000 mortgage, it's only going to be about $10 a week you'll save on this, but it's a start of something that may get a little bit better for you. The currency dropped straight away to almost 70 cents against the US dollar. And that gives us more buying power offshore, and that'll put a bit of a wall up against those increase in the oil prices coming through the front door, hopefully, and we may not see that translate to a price increase at the pump after all, which I had been thinking would occur, and I've been keeping my tank fairly well full. This week in town, Scales Corporation held its first annual meeting since listing on the stock market. It was a really enthusiastic affair, and they pointed out there that they have had a lot of wins in terms of these other parts of the economy that we don't hear too much about, like horticulture, etc. And they said the apple harvest is now complete. The pack-out volumes are above forecast. The final export volumes remain subject to the grading of the apples through the pack house, but they've already sold a third of it. Things are looking good for them too in food ingredients. Secured product margin there is up. This is what the farmers are interested in, getting margin up on product. So things were good for Scales Corporation, and it's been a really great success on the market since listing. And a little pat on the back from Rangatira, a big investment company owned in Wellington by the J.R. Mackenzie Trust. Famous for Mackenzie's. Those of you old enough to recall the Mackenzie department stores. Well, the family put all the money into a trust, Part of it goes into Rangatira. They invest in good companies to help them grow. One that they invested in was our own homegrown Hellers plant. They got 50% in that. They said it's a great example of being a market leader, a great food brand and going well for them. And finally, what is going well too is the build of the new Skellerup plant out on the edge of town at Wigram. It's a big, big facility. Go and have a look at this weekend, drive by, and be amazed. It's almost 19,000 square metres, this facility. It's for the relocation from Woolston of their products plant there. It's been planned now for 3 years. It's well underway. The mixing line for rubber will be across there in late 2015, and they're looking forward to opening there sometime properly in 2016, I think. I'm Warren Head for headliner.co.nz.
Thank you, Warren, for that. Still to come here on CTV News, the Crusaders play their last game and your region's weather.
With all the latest innovations in the world of technology, Shift has everything you need to stay informed and in the know. Shift, 2:15 on Monday, right here on CTV.
Opus is recreating the heart of Canterbury. From large-scale projects to commercial buildings. Your design, your vision. Opus.
In your life. Colour Steel, the roof of New Zealand.
Diversity. No deposit. Instant finance. Convenience. Open 7 days. Austin Motor Company.
Drive It showcases the new arrivals to the motoring world, comparing and testing the latest models to discover which one is the best. Drive It, Sunday afternoons at 2:30, only on CTV.
And welcome back to CTV News, streaming live at ctv.co.nz. Well, although the Crusaders will not win this year's Super Rugby competition, the team is still off to Canberra to play their final game before the lineup changes. Chelsea Daniels has that story.
The Crusaders will play their final game of 2015 against the Brumbies in Canberra this Saturday. Head coach Todd Blackadder has made 5 changes to the starting 15 that beat the Blues last weekend. The boys will be playing their last game as a team as the club loses familiar names such as Nipo Leolala, snapped up by the Chiefs, and Colin Slade, who has decided upon an overseas career move.
We feel like we've got some good guys coming through. Obviously, Nipo's been here a long time, and the reasons for him leaving the family, and we just couldn't match the financial offer that the Chiefs put to him. But we've re-signed. We're looking at Tim Perry to be a tidy prop for next year, and Joe Moody's done a bit of that, and we're really impressed with Alex Hosman. We've still got Wyatt Crockett. We've still got a lot of firepower there, and so while you lose one, you keep 10, and we've got some good men.
Kieran Reid will return from a concussion-forced break from rugby to lead the Crusaders in their final match of the season.
Feeling great to get it back out on the field, so looking forward to, as I said, being a part of finishing the season off. Those guys want to go out on a great win, and they've been the legends of the Crusaders, two of them, and the other guys have put in a lot for this team, so we want to send them out in the right way, but also know that we deserve, probably for our fans and for ourselves and everything, to try and finish the season off as positively as we can.
The Crusaders have had a disappointing year, but the only way is up for the side as they look forward to next season. So, are the boys looking forward to a more successful 2016 season?
In 2016, looking forward to a fresh start. There has to be a silver lining coming out of this, and the Crusaders, we have to change.
Chelsea Daniels, CTV News.
And now Jared is back for the region's weather forecast.
Hello Canterbury. Well, it was a mainly fine day for everyone today. Very dry as well, with a bit of showers here and there for most little parts of the places today. But let's take a look at today's highs, shall we? 10 degrees for Timaru and Temuka today. It was a bit cooler today in Twizel on 6 degrees. As we head to mid-Canterbury now, 10 degrees for Christchurch today and Akaroa. Very cool though for the southern part of this area. We've got 9 degrees for Ashburton and Leaston. Methven, you are only on 8 today. Further north here, mainly 10 degrees from Oxford up to Hamner Springs. A wee bit warmer in Cheviot though on 11, and Kaikoura, 12 degrees for you. And as we take a look into the Alpine region now, Mount Cook, 10 degrees for you. Let's take a look at the major centres now for tomorrow. Right, Timaru, you're on 14 degrees tomorrow with some northwesterly winds, a little bit of showers here and there, but mainly fine throughout the day. Ashburton, a little bit warmer for you tomorrow, 15 degrees with some northwesterly winds and some cloudy skies as well. Very similar to today, really. Christchurch, same temperature as Ashburton for tomorrow, 15 degrees, but you'll have a few showers here and there and some cloud throughout the day. And as for Kaikoura, cloudy skies for you with some westerly winds, a low of 4 and a high of 14. Right, let's take a look at tomorrow's temperatures now for the rest of the region. Mainly some rain here and there for some parts, but mostly cloudy in the early teens. In fact, further north, similar picture as well, except there'll be some westerly winds in Darfield. Everyone else, northwesterly all the way through. Let's take a look now at the upper area of the region. Fantastic, 15 degrees for Amberley, Covenant and Hamner Springs. Everyone else on 14 degrees, but you'll see some westerly winds here and there as well. And here, rain for Mount Cook and 11 degrees. Let's take a look at the upcoming days now. Now, we had some technical difficulties, but never fear. I've got the paper copy right here, so this is what's going on. There'll be some westerly winds for most parts with some showers here and there for many places in South Canterbury. As we go further up the region, they'll change southwesterly with some sunny skies here and there as well. As for Sunday, that will change. Everywhere around the region will have southwesterly winds and there'll be a chance of rain in South Canterbury, but everywhere else we'll see some sunny skies. There we go, we got there in the end, and that is your weather for Thursday.
You did very well, Jared. And still with weather, Mount Hutt Ski Field will be the first Canterbury ski field to open for the winter season. But it's not tomorrow as expected, it will be now on Saturday. Why? Well, the forecast is for strong winds in the alpine areas. They've caused the delays, but don't worry, Saturday is looking quite good, they say. Well, thank you so much for joining us. That is CTV News for Thursday. We'll see you tomorrow.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.